Here we are in Hayward Park in the leafy suburbs of the beautiful city of Adelaide. And today I would like to talk to you about Sun Communication, one of the fundamental elements of real-time CEO, and talk about how it's completely different from the traditional conversation that's driven in management meetings. That conversation typically starts with a review of numbers and then rapidly descends into firefighting operational conversations, and little or no time is allocated to challenge the strategic future ahead of the business. Sun Communication encourages the leadership team to start looking at the strategic perspective ahead of the business, then to formulate the appropriate operational response, and then, with the benefit of context, to look at the numerical performance of the business. Sun Communication is different. Sun Communication is powerful. Now let's take a closer look at how it works. And that conversation can start with a very powerful question. What information has come to light in the last 30 days that changes our view of the future? On this rapidly changing landscape, every leader in business is observing changes that are happening ahead and around the business, and it's an incredibly important conversation to capture on a monthly basis. That strategic conversation is likely to then result in an operational response. And think about the question, how will our behaviour change to create value or mitigate risk? I want to attach those two concepts to the job description of the leader. Many leaders have extensive job descriptions produced by their HR departments, going into 2, 3, 4 pages. But I'd like to share with you a very simple job description. You only have 2 responsibilities: create value and mitigate risk. Every single thing you do every single day should have a direct link towards creating value or mitigating risk. If it doesn't, you shouldn't be doing it. So having identified the strategic change happening around the business, how are you going to respond to turn an opportunity into value or to mitigate a risk? Now, the glue that holds this process together is accountability. And in real-time CEO, we use a very simple process called 3W accountability. Every action defined has a what, a who, and a when. Having identified your operational response, it makes absolute sense that we are going to track and challenge the numerical impact of that operational response. And of course, with that tracking may come more actions. Now, one of the things that I like to say to leaders about numbers is they should never surprise you. Numbers should quantify and clarify, but not surprise. If they do surprise you, then it's likely that you've not had the right strategic or operational conversation leading into your review of numbers. But in quantifying and clarifying the situation, it is highly likely that you will have an operational response to what you've learnt by looking at the numbers. For example, the numbers may quantify that your margins have been squeezed. You had a gut feel that that was coming, so it wasn't a surprise, but now they've told you to what degree this is actually occurring and how much it's damaging your business. So your responses might be to negotiate better with suppliers or to increase your prices to your customers. And it then makes absolute sense for you to feed this operational response, in fact, this entire cycle, into the beginning of the next month's cycle. So this is a process that I like to see leadership teams embrace each and every month. Now, what this will do is avoid some of the reasons why leadership teams can get fractured. In the first instance, it enables everybody to see the future. It's a common fracturing in leadership teams for the only person to see the future is the CEO or the managing director, and everybody else is beavering away trying to get today completed, and they're a little frustrated that the leaders always got their heads in the cloud and focusing on the next shiny object on the horizon. If everybody's participating in the Sun Communication process, everybody is participating in the vision of the future. Now, the other fracturing that can happen in leadership teams is the only person who truly understands the numbers that are being tabled, that are inevitably in a traditional accounting format, is the CFO, controller or accountant, and the rest of the group don't really understand the numerical performance of the business. In Real-Time CEO, we present numbers in a plain English fashion, a concept that I've talked about in the other philosophy videos. 6 numbers that tell us exactly where our business is at, and 6 numbers presented in plain English so everybody has the ability to understand the numerical performance of the business. If everybody is understanding the numerical performance of the business, everybody's learning from the past, and if everybody's learning from the past, everybody's shaping the future. What Real-Time CEO is endeavouring to do through the use of the Sun Communication cycle is to create visionary leaders, accountable leaders, and leaders that are numerically literate. If you establish this into your leadership culture, your business will become more valuable tomorrow than it was yesterday.